Guys, welcome to the Limitless Ones podcast. I'm very excited about today's episode as I brought on Erin Dubs, founder and owner of Azure Fit. I hope I pronounced that correct. I'm excited to have her on because I know she's going to give a lot of valuable information to you guys. I'm excited to hear everything she has. And did I pronounce that correctly?
You did. It's just Azure. I know some people say like Azure, but it's just Azure Fit.
Azure Fit. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for you to tell us about Azure Fit and fill us in a little bit about everything about the name everything about the brand.
Sure. Okay. So we're local to Ontario. We say based out of Toronto just because we have kind of like a global following, but we actually operate out of Schomberg, Ontario. So we're super close. I live in Barrie, so also a member of athletic culture.
Cool.
And Azure Fit is women's apparel line, primarily fitness. We're very well known for our leggings, for the reason that the fabric is top notch. It's just everything you would want in a legging. Squat proof, they don't fall down. They're buttery soft, they wash like a dream, they don't pill, which is one of the most amazing qualities about them. Super affordable, and they come in all the best colors. But we also do a bunch of other stuff. We love to do pieces that you can style, like bike shorts, luxe sweat sets, high-waisted swim. We're really into matching sets, so anything matchy, we love that. We've been in business for 2.5 years, so we're kind of still in the startup phase. And yeah, direct to consumer on Shopify. Basically, all of our customers come through social media, Instagram and TikTok mainly. We're trying to branch out into Pinterest as well now. But yeah, that's Azure Fit.
That's awesome. Yeah. And you guys have done a really good job with the branding, and I'm excited to talk more about that. So tell me what inspired the name and the idea, because that's where most people get stuck, right? They kind of like want to do something similar to what you are, but it's very difficult to come up with a name that you really love and passionate about and to have the creative idea. So what inspired the name and what inspired the idea?
So the name, it's actually the name of a horse. I have an equestrian background. So Azure is the American Olympic show jumping mare.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. Very cool.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. My sister picked the name, but like I'm a big believer in the name not being really that important, to be honest. We went into business together. So we launched the company together, but we let go of her very quickly because she became a police officer. That's another story. But she chose the name and I liked it. And we could sit around forever and try to pick another name, but I was like, it's short, it's simple. I like the A, I like the Z, let's go for it and not spend too much time on it. Kind of cool backstory that it's the name of a horse. And that's how it came to be.
Well, there's two things I love in there. One is my girlfriend's into equestrian, so she'll love that. I'm not sure if she was aware of that. Maybe she was. And secondly, I love that you said that I don't believe the name is that important. In a business program I'm putting together right now, I talk about this, how the name's not that important. It's the marketing and the passion and the energy and the quality of the integrity of the company that really dictates what the brand's going to do. So I love that so much of what you just said, because I think that's very, very important.
Yeah, like take a name like Lululemon, for example. What does that even mean, right? You have to make the name mean something.
100%. And when you look at yours, it spikes your curiosity. Do the letters mean something? And like you said, A and Z are very powerful. So like the name's very catchy. And I actually think the name's, compared to some of the ones that large names on the market, I think it's a great name. It really is. Genuinely, I mean that.
Thank you so much. Sometimes I'm like, why did we pick that name? But it just kind of became a thing. It's its own thing.
Yeah. And you look at many different, like you said, Lululemon, you look at Tommy Hilfiger, you could look at Calvin Klein. If I came to you and said, I'm going to start a company and I'm going to name it this, until you really put it on a pedestal, people, they don't see it the way that we look at Nike now, or we look at, Umbro or Adidas or Reebok. It's just, when you first start out something, people behind the scene, they have a different feeling than the people that are the consumer looking at it at a high level, right? So as it moves forward, that brand starts to take on a life of its own and becomes so much more powerful than what your original little seed idea that you thought it was going to be, right? Other people take it and run with it, and they put their own perceptions and their own emotions involved with it, depending on the person wearing the product and how they feel when they're in the product. And it kind of grows and morphs into something bigger than you could control, and it becomes bigger than you.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah, it's very cool. So tell me about your background, like a little bit of coming up. I always like to give people the short story to kind of give people an idea of how you transition to where you're at. So just a quick story coming up, how you got into Azure and a little bit before that.
Okay, so I've always been like heavily interested in business from a young age. Read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad, fell in love, and just knew I wanted to start my own business from like the
Cool.
age of 15. Went to business school, went to Humber College, did a quick business management course. It was just like a year and a half. I feel like I actually learned more in high school business courses than I did in post-secondary, which is kind of funny, but
It is.
out of college, I started a residential cleaning company with my sister. So we did that for 4 years. Decided like that wasn't, we didn't really like cleaning. It wasn't for us. Had just got into fitness and yoga, took our yoga teacher training, opened a yoga studio together. So we have been business partners for a long time. Ran that yoga studio for 8 years. And it was like in the tail end of it is when I started Azure. So we would train in LA as yoga teachers. We're always like updating our education and stuff. And when we went to LA back in like 2015, 16, we noticed that all the girls were wearing what we call the muscle tank, which is just like a t-shirt with the sleeves cut off and then cropped. So we came home and not a lot of people were wearing that at the time here in Toronto. So we would cut up old t-shirts and people would be like, where'd you get that tank? Where'd you get that tank? People compliment us all the time. Our students would always ask us where we were getting them. We're like, we're making them. And then everyone was like, you need to start a tank top line. And that went on for like 2 years until we were actually like, okay, maybe we should do this. And we had this idea we were going to go viral on Instagram. And Azure Fit actually started as Azure Tank. That's our legal name. We operate as Azure Fit, but it started as Azure Tank.
Okay.
So we sold these crop tops for a couple months, and then people started to ask, what kind of pants should I wear with them? And high-waisted leggings were just starting to become popular. I was a Lululemon ambassador for 4 years, so I got to like try all the leggings, and all of my leggings were high-waisted, but I couldn't believe the amount of people that weren't wearing high-waisted leggings, which looks really funny with a crop top if you've got like your lower belly showing, but then also the top is like cropped as well. So we were like, we got to make a really great pair of high-waisted leggings. We did that, and then the leggings became the bread and butter of the business. So they're our best-selling product. So we really focused on that. Eventually launched, sports bras and different pieces. And around the time that we launched the leggings is when my sister left. She became a police officer, and now it's just me.
That's awesome. So you started with one product?
Yes.
Just the shirt?
Well, we actually started with 3 different tank tops.
Okay. But similar idea, just a little bit different design and a few different colors.
Yeah.
Because I feel like this is where I have people come to me on a weekly basis asking for advice because they have a lot of respect for what I did with athletic culture. And one of the things that's very common, I've had at least 10 young people that are trying to start a clothing line. And they come to me and they have 3 different hoodies and 3 different hats, and they got pants and they got shorts and they've got muscle shirts, and they're trying to raise the capital to do it. And they don't even have a bit of momentum behind the brand. They haven't even figured out what's the main seller going to be. And the advice that I give them is you need to slow down and pick a few things and do it really well. I think some people do that organically because they don't have the money, or they just have a simple idea. And then other people, they're doing it, they just want to go big and they think they need to go big. And I think that's one of the mistakes is a lot of people jump in, and I made that mistake with athletic culture. It wasn't a mistake. I had no choice but to go super big because I wanted to compete with Good Life and LA and all those companies, which we are doing. But would you feel that's some of the advice you would give somebody starting out? And I wanted to talk more about it, but we're already on that topic. I think that's a good advice to give somebody.
Totally. I tell people all the time, I love helping people with business. I don't do consulting. I wish I could. I wish I had time for it. But I do like, if you see my TikTok, it's all about how I grew the business. Going hard on Clubhouse now too. But I tell people all the time to start with one product, because I started with 3 and I wanted to start with 10. Had my manufacturer talk me down to those 3. Actually, he tried to get me down to do 1 product, and I was very stubborn and I did 3. And I wish I had just done 1. I wish I had just done 1. Put your money into 1 product that is not custom. Just white label or blank apparel is a great way to start. And that's how you can build some capital to reinvest into something maybe a little more custom and unique, or doing like a collection or a range of products. So that's definitely the way to go. And I wish I had started even smaller.
It sounds like the manufacturer that you got lucky enough to start with had a really good head on their shoulders, because most would have pushed you just, buy as many as you want, but maybe they wanted you to be successful to come back, or did you have some type of a connection that wanted them to give you that advice? Because that's sound advice, that's quality advice from somebody that was making money off you, and they still wanted to look out for you. So did you have a connection for a good manufacturer from the start?
I did. And he's kind of like a friend now, but I always kind of felt that friendship with him. But I also think it was just my budget. He was like, we can't make that
Yeah.
happen with
Yeah.
your budget.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and he gave me great advice. He was like, you don't want to do that anyway. Start small. You don't have to start big. And it's honestly better not to.
Yeah, and because it allows you to go deep into one product and really make that really good and get people to fall in love with it. And then do I go right or left, right? Which way do I go from here?
Right. I always tell people, like, so my first tank top, I had this idea stuck in my head that I was like, we're doing it this way. So our like flagship product when we started was a reversible tank top. It was a cropped muscle tank style, and it was marble, black on one side, white marble on the other side. And it was very, very difficult to make because it was 2 layers of fabric to make it reversible. We wanted it to be lightweight enough to work out in, but layering up the fabric makes it heavy. So we were on the hunt for this custom fabric that was lightweight. We also wanted to have this very vibrant print on it, which you can't do with cotton. You need to use a synthetic fabric to print something vibrant. It just doesn't work on cotton, but we were so stuck in making it feel like cotton. It took us months to find a lightweight cotton feeling fabric that you could also do a sublimation print on. And that we wasted a lot of time doing that. It was a great tank. It was very expensive. Everything about it was custom, the design, the print, the art, like the artwork on it, and the fabric. And it was great, but it was a $62 tank top. So it was expensive. It was expensive to make. We had to sell it for an expensive price point. Sold a bunch of them. Took us a while to move everything that we had. But our second product was a cropped crew neck sweater, no logo, just came in an array of colors, maybe 3 or 4 different colors. And it was a Gildan white label product. And those became our bestseller because they were well priced and people were starting to see what the brand was about, women empowerment, body positivity, all of these things that we stood for as a brand. And people wanted to buy that. They didn't really care about the design, all these fancy bells and whistles. They just wanted to support local, believe in what we believed in. And that actually worked better than coming up with this technical custom made product.
Yeah. And so right from the start, was it a price point that was, because even your products today they just look very neutral and earthy and comfortable and cozy and fit well, which I want to talk more about. But was it the capital thing at the start that kept you away? Because a lot of companies want to get their logo, like I'm wearing an under, I'm branding Under Armour right now. For you, was it leaning towards you just wanted that to be part of the brand, or it was because you had mentioned go white label, don't have to customize it extremely well to get momentum behind the brand and then get some capital? Was it a capital thing at the start, or from the start, you didn't want to overbrand the product with the logo?
Yeah, we didn't want to overbrand at the beginning. And this was just a personal preference. I can't say if it worked or not, but my theory at the beginning was nobody really knows who we are other than our yoga students. We're pretty big in the yoga community in the York region area. But like not a lot of people, strangers don't really know who we are. They don't necessarily want to wear something that says like Azure across the chest. They just want a stylish piece. So even today, like we try to really focus on like what is in style right now. And back then crop tops were just like really spiraling. People were like really into crop tops. They were just starting and we were like, let's do the right cuts. And I think that is more important, and you can kind of build your customer base by just providing a well-made product that is in style in the colors of the season. And then eventually when people start to like trust you as a brand, then you can start slapping your logo on there and making it a little bit more branded and commercial. That was my approach. I can't say if it would work for everybody, and I didn't have any fashion experience, so that was just my thoughts at the beginning. It seems like it worked for us.
Yeah, there's 2 things I'd love to break down there. One is I think it's great. If you don't love the product, then I think that's a mistake. Too many people try to just go to the end consumer, and you were doing it because it's something that you really liked. And I think if you really love it, other people are going to love it too, right? Yeah. You should feel good about it. Like, and for example, for us, we're not a clothing line, but with athletic culture, we tried to land in the middle. So I didn't want to over brand, but at the same time, we're not really a clothing line. We're more of a gym, right? In a fitness facility, but we want to go down the road of providing some good quality apparel. But at the same time, it's important for us to have our logo, because if you're wearing it, then someone's going to say, oh, and type it into Google. We're really trying to drive memberships more than anything and provide a good quality product. But I didn't want to over brand it either, where it was just like athletic culture, everything. So with the girl stuff, I went simple with just our little avatar, not over branding anything, but it's still there. Gets the question out, right?
Yeah. And I think that works well for you, because you have the gym to back it up, and you have all of your members to back it up, and they actually really want to represent the amazing gym that you have. So naturally, they would probably want it to say athletic culture, because they know what it means. And there's, you know, you have your colors, like the style of your gym, the amazing equipment, all the things that athletic culture is, the community. And it's like you already have that. So I would say
that makes sense.
A little bit more ready to brand things a little bit more heavily.
Yeah, they kind of got to understand. They're part of the culture now, right? So they're kind of representing something more than just the clothing. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So from the start, so you said 2.5 years from the idea that you and your sister started to have it to where you're at now. Is it more like 3.5 years? Because there was obviously a lot of process. So how long is that whole window?
It was about a year. It was about 3 months of procrastination and thinking and like having ideas, but not really doing anything. And then I would say it was about 9-ish months of picking fabrics and figuring out how we're going to get this print on this fabric, make it lightweight and all these things. And then it was like building a website and just designing everything from the hang tags to the logo and all of that stuff. It does take a long time. And I remember we were like, oh, we're going to launch in 3 months. And our manufacturer was like, maybe if you're lucky, but that's really fast. And we were like, well, we move fast. But then it was like, that day came, it was like, okay, we need 3 months more. And then that day came, it was like, we need 3 months more. We're like, we're definitely launching by August. And then it was, we're definitely launching by Christmas. And then it's we're definitely launching by January. And it just kept getting pushed back. I think things always take longer than you think.
Yeah, 100%. People, how's that saying go? People they overestimate what they can do in a year, and they completely underestimate what they can do in 10. And I think that's so true, right? Like when you start this, you're like, oh, I'll do all this in the first year, but you never probably imagine that it could be $100 million or $1 billion company in 10 years and be bought out by somebody or go public or whatever it is. You never know what you could do in 10 years if you just keep chipping away, but you always think on 1 year, I'm going to do this, this, and this, and this, and this. And it usually doesn't happen short term. And then you don't even imagine that's possible what you could do over 10 years. And I think we're all guilty of that, right?
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. So branding, we've talked a little bit about it. There's a huge difference between branding and marketing. Branding is obviously how people perceive what it is, the product or service that you're creating. We've got a little bit about that. When you're trying to get the brand to people, I went through the website just because I wanted to get a little bit of knowledge behind it. Seeing your guys have like a manifesto or a mission statement. What do you find better, literature and captions to get your message across? Because you talked about woman empowerment, loving your body type, all these things. Do you find imagery get that job done and putting it on women that represent different cultures, different body types, different body sizes? Or do you feel like the literature is important, or do you kind of morph them together?
I guess I morph them together, but I think it is less about words. Branding, like our branding is everything from like our font to our captions on Instagram, to the way that I have the models stand in photo shoots, the poses that they do, the cut of the clothing, the colors that we choose, the models that we choose, the size ranges that we do. We range from extra small to triple XL. It's like all of that stuff put together. It's like a recipe. It's like a bunch of ingredients together that make the whole brand.
100%. This is where a lot of people get lost with the branding side, and they get too focused on getting it to the customer. But people forget about how powerful colors are, how powerful font is, body language, all these things that you're talking about. And you can really, just by looking at a color, looking at a font, looking at the shape of a body, you can get a message to somebody. Because I forget the exact percentage, but humans do, I think it's 70% body language, even when you communicate with somebody, and 30% words, right? That's why
Yeah.
text messages always go wrong with conversations with people versus picking up the phone and talking to somebody, or just being face to face. And brands are the same way. And I get so interested with big brands and how they get their message across. And you see it consistently with clothing companies, glass companies, and different things. They rarely tell you, like, you will never see Nike come out and say our product's made of this, this, and this, and it'll do. All they do is they put it on somebody struggling, an athlete, and then them becoming great, and then you have this emotional connection, right? And you can do that through just imagery and colors and fonts and so on, like you said, and little catchphrases and small things like that.
Yeah, it's the little things. It's even like, if I think of athletic culture, the font that you use, the size that you have the logo on the building inside the gym, the green. If you compare that to, say, a jewelry company is probably going to have a much daintier font that's maybe in cursive, and like that's what is the difference between dainty jewelry and weightlifting, and it comes through in the font colors that you choose and all of the that you do.
Yeah, I love this, and there's a lot of people are going to get a value just out of that short period of time. So stepping out of marketing or out of branding, let's talk marketing. It's 2021. My girlfriend's a fan of yours. She watches your stuff because she's talking about your brother and some of the stuff that he does, and just about all the new things that you're doing, like on TikTok and some of the new things you're doing. So she's a fan of like all the new things that you're trying. It's 2021. There's always the argument between referrals and handshakes and getting on the phone and all the different things and ambassadors and so on. It sounds like your main target. Are you leaning on Instagram and Facebook? Are you participating in Google and YouTube at all? Like, where's your main target at? And you've obviously identified where the audience is at. What do you find the most value in right now in 2021?
So in the past, Instagram has been my base.
Go-to.
Like, for 2 years straight, it was purely organic Instagram content that grew the brand. And I have done very little influencer marketing. I had done no Facebook or Instagram ads. I wasn't on YouTube, nothing like that. So it was really just organic Instagram content, which I really can't say enough about, because it's just all word of mouth, and word of mouth travels so fast these days. I remember, like, when I opened my yoga studio, it's like someone would come to class, they have a great experience, maybe they would tell a couple of friends, bring one in. Nowadays, somebody buys the product, they love it, even if they just take a flat lay photo and post that to their Instagram story, then it's in front of the eyes of potentially thousands of people. So word of mouth, if you have a good product, it spreads really fast. I was heavily involved in the fitness community here. So, I knew a lot of gym owners, yoga studio owners, and personal trainers, yoga teachers. So that helped too, but it was really just organic Instagram. In May of 2020, I started my TikTok, and I had a couple of viral videos. And I think the approach that I just kind of stumbled upon, which was like me talking about my business, giving business tips, was a great approach to get sales. I'm not like directly selling on TikTok and being like, buy these leggings, buy the sports bra. It's more like I'm giving great valuable tips on how you can launch a business as well. And people are like, wow, she gives really great tips. Like, I wonder what she sells. They go to the bio, they see the link in the bio, they click on it, and they're like, oh, like, these leggings are really nice, they have great reviews, so I'm going to buy them. So it works really well, an indirect way to market on TikTok. It's anybody can go viral on it. I've done it quite a few times, and I don't think I've done anything super special. I think everybody just kind of has an opportunity to go viral on TikTok if you're like in a niche. So TikTok has been huge. And then as of August 2020, I started running Facebook and Instagram ads, which have been great as well. I know I'm on Clubhouse, so I'm kind of doing the same approach that I do with TikTok on Clubhouse. I'm also trying to get into Pinterest. We just started a Pinterest account. Apparently you can do ads through Pinterest now. So I'm trying to utilize everything. Especially, I don't know if you know what's going on with Apple and Facebook right now, but they're having a battle.
Okay, tell me more if you can.
There's a new iOS 14, and like, I'm not a tech person, so I don't know a lot about it. But basically Facebook and Apple are battling about who should be getting the money from all the Facebook ads. So Apple has changed something that is not allowing Facebook to take credit for the money that they're bringing in. And there's a whole lawsuit. So that's happening like right now. It's really disrupting the Facebook ad industry. You can't see what sales are coming through Facebook. It's all very gray, like a gray area right now.
Wow.
It's
Okay.
supposed to be resolved mid-March, so we'll see what happens. But people are really like, let's move to TikTok ads, let's move to Pinterest ads. Pinterest is stepping up their ad platform, Clubhouse, other Google ads, other platforms, to just in case it doesn't work out with this battle.
No, I love everything about that. And the most important thing, I think, that people, it's great to make a sale, but it's nice to have the data to
Yeah,
understand, is the message getting through, and is the customer still there? Like,
yeah,
are they still on Facebook? Because like a lot of people I'm speaking to now, they don't, I think Facebook's still a monster. And if your target audience is there, but a lot of people are steering away from it now because it's all statuses and politics and arguing over religion and if you should wear a mask or not, versus Instagram. It's a place to escape, I think, for a lot of people, where they just take an hour and it's kind of like looking at a magazine. They're looking at nice images. It's fun. You know, it's puppies and food and travel content. And then they see a nice pair of leggings and it's, I think it's a better spot. And I would assume Pinterest and these other avenues are going to be the same because people aren't used to seeing ads on there. They're going there to look at tattoo artwork and, you know, drawings and different things like that. And it'd be a very easy conversion for you guys to put your product there as well, right? And get people to just go to your website. And we looked at your website, and I'd like to say that you're doing an amazing job because it's so simple, it's so clean, it gets the point across, and it's so easy to look at the product. It's not messy. Yeah, you're very welcome. It's a great job you guys are doing with it.
thank you so much.
Yeah, you're very welcome. So, personal brands. I know you work on your personal brand, you do a good job at it. People are now realizing that with whether it's a clothing brand or anything, there's a lot of power behind having a great personal brand because people like to know who they're supporting. You see it in all kinds of different brands. How important do you think that is for young people coming up to start working on their personal brand? Is it something you practice on a regular basis?
So I'm getting better at it, but I do
Yeah.
think it's really important. It's really like, we're not doing business cards and resumes so much anymore. It's like, if somebody really wants to look into you, they're going to look at your Instagram. And if you can make that like a great reflection of who you are professionally, you've got like a head start, right? So I think that that's great for young people, and everybody should be doing it. If you're not on Instagram, you definitely don't have the advantage that the people that are do. There won't be as many opportunities for you. Like, I get so many opportunities out of social media. Kind of have to be honest, especially if you want to be in business. My personal Instagram, for instance, is nothing spectacular. I'm trying to be a little bit better with it, but just spending the last couple of years growing the business, I've kind of fallen behind on my personal brand. But I always did kind of want to get on Instagram, flip the camera, start talking to people, teach them about business and how, you know, I started my business. I think people really love that kind of boss babe thing that I have
100%.
going on.
Yeah.
But so I had every intention of doing that, but I ended up downloading TikTok, did it on TikTok, got a lot of questions from people to answer those questions through videos. I know TikTok is really like my stronger personal brand platform, I guess, where I'm always talking to the camera on TikTok. I'm always being like silly and goofy and like not wearing makeup and just doing my thing. Whereas like Instagram, I still feel a little bit like people from high school follow me there, all my yoga students. I don't want to be like too out there, but I need to get over that and be better. Definitely.
Yeah, I think that, well, like even with me, I'm participating a lot on LinkedIn now because the platforms, they're trying to grow, so they're giving you organic growth. Instagram's so saturated. TikTok was the same thing because they're still trying to grow the brand, right? So they're giving people more traction. Right. And for what you're trying to do, there's obviously followers there for you, and you can get your message across quick, right? So I think with Instagram, you could probably gain a ton of momentum. It's just now they want a lot more money for it, right? Where like you and I doing what I'm doing and what you're doing, you can put that same content on Instagram, and 5 years ago it would have took off to 1 million followers like that.
Like I said, my initial intention was, oh, don't worry, we'll go viral on Instagram. But that was a few years ago. I can't do that anymore.
Yeah, and you got to pay so much money now, right? And you can do giveaways and whatever and influencer marketing and stuff, but it's not like it used to be. So I think the new platforms are going to do very well, like Pinterest and TikTok and all these other places that you're kind of going, right? So, and I think this is a great, sorry, go ahead.
I was gonna say, even for like local brick and mortar businesses, I think TikTok is great for targeting local viewers, because you hashtag Barrie, hashtag Simcoe, York, Toronto, and you'll get in front of those people.
Yeah. And you also said back, like all the stuff you were doing on TikTok was not to try to make a sale. It was providing value. So people are coming to you for the value. They're interested in watching, you're entertaining them, you're providing value, whatever it is. And then they go and look at your product and they're interested in converting into a sale. And that's what's great about TikTok is people aren't, they're not being sold there yet, right? So everybody's just going for entertainment or value. So the conversion becomes you just trying to talk about your brand and give out value, and that converts into sales easily and grows the brand.
Yeah, as well as just showing my personality and kind of getting them invested of the story of Erin as a business owner. I think definitely makes them more likely to support whether they're local or not. There's people from all over the world on TikTok, but I think when they kind of get invested and excited for your next video, oh, Erin just posted another video. What's it going to be? They're more likely to want to like rock your products too. So that works well in a branding sense.
And it's just amazing that you're putting out the content, because I'm sure there's a lot of young girls that are looking up to you, and men as well. And I think it's so important. Young girls need more girls like you. And I say this to my girlfriend because she does so well with her brand. Her business has taken off and she's so professional on there, and she's putting out value and putting out good content. And I think it's good for people, especially young female entrepreneurs, to put that message out for other girls to understand that there's an avenue that you can be, own this business and you can go down and be an entrepreneur, that it's not just a man's game, and that it's opening up more and more, and that women can participate in that. And it's a total option for a young girl to dream, to want to go and be an entrepreneur and a business owner, and I think there's more and more females now stepping out in that role. And I think that's why it's so important for people to do what you're doing and put out that content, not just talk about your brand, but talk about building the brand, talk about you as a person, so that they understand and humanize you, and then say, oh, well, maybe I could do that as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So ambassadors, you kind of mentioned that you did the Lululemon thing for a while. Do you guys in your company focus on, you said you don't do much influencer marketing, but do you do any type of ambassador promoting, or do you do mostly just your modeling and then putting the product out?
We don't do what a lot of fitness brands do, which is like the affiliate link with the discount code called ambassadors. We just kind of, I think it's become like the thing to do for a fitness apparel line. And I personally just kind of want to be different. So we do have a PR list that we gift clothing to girls when we drop a new collection, do a new launch. And it's a little bit less gimmicky, I think. And it works really well. I always tell people, if you give someone a pair of leggings or a hoodie or whatever it is, if they post it on their Instagram, whether they have 1,000 followers or 10,000 followers, you will get a sale. You will get at least one sale, and it's always worth it. We like to gift things to people in exchange for a little bit of content. And I think that works well. And it's also less gimmicky. With these affiliate codes too, you have to give a percentage away. Maybe it's 10% off. Some brands also do 10% off and then a commission to the ambassador, which starts to cut into your margins. Like if you're giving 10% off, a commission to the ambassador, and you're running Facebook, Instagram ads, all that stuff eats into your margins. So I like to keep my margins high and just make it a little bit less gimmicky and authentic, and kind of a little more exclusive as well. Because I look at some of these fitness brands that are up and coming, and I wonder, are these people that I see wearing their products, are they customers, or are they people that are just posting it because they're getting paid to post it? I think customers are smart and they know what's real and what's not real. I think people are starting to catch on to that. And like I said, it becomes a little bit gimmicky in my opinion.
No, I 100% agree. And you'll see.
Definitely works. It definitely works. They probably do bring in a lot of sales, but I just kind of thought I would go a different route.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it works, but at the same time, that same influencer would be getting paid to wear like Vanquish, or maybe like whatever the different type of sports brand is. And then the next photo, they're just putting Nike on for free and Under Armour, and it's getting the same, you know what I mean? And they're not actually trying to sell it. And people are like, oh, where did you get that sweater? Like Nike's getting just as much promotion for free just because people want to wear the product themselves,
Yeah. And a lot of these girls too, that are doing these affiliate codes and stuff, they're doing them with everybody. So if I'm sending this to one girl, maybe today she's posting me, maybe tomorrow she's posting Elfily, next day she's posting Gymshark, the next day she's posting Lulu. So it's like there's no brand loyalty there.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think the ambassador gets more benefit out of it, honestly, because people look at them like, wow, how is she getting an ambassador code? Or how are they getting, a sponsorship of some sort. So it kind of elevates their brand more. And I think it's good that people want to get into it, right? Because let's talk a bit about that, because you did it a little bit. Obviously, it's not something you participate in, and I see the value in the direction you're going with that. But if somebody did want to become an ambassador or try to get a sponsorship, where would you give advice to a young girl that's trying to get down that road? Because maybe they want to get into a clothing line, but they just want to learn more about it, about the marketing side, and they want to build up their following, and maybe they want to participate, whether it's a code or getting paid for it. I know we need to build our Instagram, but would be any advice you would give to a young female?
Yeah, I would say, and depending on the brand that you're reaching out to, the size of it, but from my perspective of a brand my size, I would say take a look at the brand's Instagram feed and ask yourself, does it look like my feed?
Yeah.
And are they posting the same kind of content that I post? And if the answer is no, it's probably not going to be the right fit for you. You might not get an answer back, or it might just be a sorry, we're tapped out of influencers and ambassadors at the moment. So I would say try to find the brand that's the perfect match for you. So if you love weightlifting, go for a brand that's like heavily promoting weightlifting and all their photos are in the gym. If you like yoga and Pilates, find a brand that's like posting their models on the Pilates reformers or on yoga mats. If it's not fitness and say you're into jewelry, find a brand that is wearing all the same types of pieces that you love. So that when the brand looks at your feed, they're like, okay, this is a good match.
Yeah.
And if you're going for a smaller brand, say a brand with like, I have about 30,000 followers, maybe buy a piece, tag them on your story or in a photo. They'll notice. I see all the people that tag us. I see every single photo that we get tagged in. They'll notice you. And that's another way to kind of get their attention. Maybe you start a relationship that way. They comment on your photo, you comment back, you support each other. That's a good way to get your foot in the door as well. Can't speak to like a big brand like Gymshark or anything like that. I don't know how they go about picking their ambassadors, but again, you can always start small. Start with a small brand and work your way up the ladder. Use the smaller brands as leverage to target a brand that's just a little bit bigger than the last brand.
Yeah, that's honestly amazing advice. And also something I would add to that is I get reached out to by companies all the time that want me to promote their product, and they don't even want to pay me for it. They're like, oh, we'll give you a free watch and you just have to pay the shipping. That's like the handle they throw at you, or we'll give you some free supplements or whatever it is. And I'm like, I have a limited amount of listening that my followers want to hear.
Yeah.
And I have my own products that I'm trying to sell, and I'm trying to provide value as well. And it really dilutes your personal brand when you're constantly just buy this, buy this, buy this, buy this, and you're not getting anything out of it, and they're getting all the promotion out of it. So a lot of people are doing it just to feel valued and to try to be relevant and think, oh, I'm an ambassador, when really you're not getting any benefit out of it. And you don't even probably use the product or the service before that. You're just trying to make yourself feel better. And it's hard to be confident these days. I mean, there's so much stuff going on social media, and everyone's suffering with depression and anxiety and trying to keep up to the, to the Kardashians, as they say, or to the Jetsons or whatever it is. And it's hard to be, to feel good about yourself. So I think people attach themselves to stuff that they probably just shouldn't even bother attaching to, and just continue to put out a good message, put out good content. And eventually I think you'll grab traction just on your own message, right?
And I think consumers are getting smarter, and they feel that. They know if a girl is posting a mattress one day and then, a pair of leggings the next day and then a watch the next day, something fishy is going on.
Yeah. You're just selling. You're not providing any value. You're just using your platform, right? And that dilutes it so much. So the thing I'm really excited to ask you about, which we've already talked a bit about it, there is so many young people that want to do exactly what you're doing, males and females. They want to do the clothing line. Everybody loves clothes. They're hip, they're fun. They'll never go out of style. Everybody's always going to wear clothes. If somebody wants to get into it, there's so much to talk about, from capital. You've already kind of given some great advice on starting simple, get one product. They have a hard time finding a manufacturer. Everybody's on Alibaba or somewhere is trying to find a manufacturer. Do I go across seas? Do I do it locally? Then they don't know how to market it correctly. Website design. Can you give us a little bit of advice? Speaking to males and females, they have aspirations of doing something similar to what you're doing, and they're just kind of lost and they don't know where to start. If you were to do it all over again, in just a small little bit of information, what kind of advice would you give them?
I would definitely say what we talked about, start small. Don't get caught up in the idea of needing a collection to launch. Like you need your website to have an array of products to get going. That's not true. What you really need is one great product that you can sell to your friends and family. If you have a little bit of an Instagram following, that helps. I mean, I only had like 800 Instagram followers when I started. So you really don't need to be an influencer at all to do it. Just start small. Make sure that you have some other form of income, whether it's a full-time job or I don't know, rich parents or something. You need money when you start, because I tell people one of my biggest tips is don't pay yourself. Don't pay yourself for a really long time. I was very disciplined with not taking a single penny out of my business for the first like year and a bit. And I would just reinvest it. Every sale I would reinvest back into buying more stock, creating new products, marketing, all of these things. So don't take any money out of your business until you can look at your bank account and say, if I take a paycheck or a salary, I'm not going to notice it gone. So just keep reinvesting and make sure you have some other income that's going to, pay your mortgage or your bills or whatever. That's huge, because if you're eating up that money, you're never going to grow. And it's very difficult to grow when let's say you release 100 of one product and they sell out. Well, now you need to buy 200 the next round. So yes, you've made money, but you need to double your inventory. So it really eats into your cash flow, and you've got to have money in the business and you got to baby it. So that's another huge tip. People always ask me how to find a manufacturer. It's like my number one question that I get asked, but
of course,
there's manufacturers everywhere. There's literally so many of them. They slide into my DMs all the time. I get emails every day. Go on Google, go on Alibaba. There's literally so many manufacturers. It's more of a question of finding the right manufacturer for you. So you need to start a conversation, whether it's a local manufacturer in the city that you live in, or if it's somebody in China. You just have to start talking to them, tell them what you want to do, ask them like what their minimums are for quantities, what's it going to cost, like can they provide the fabrics that you're looking for, narrow it down to like a niche in manufacturing. Like if you want to make leggings, go to a fitness apparel manufacturer. If you want to make shoes, you're going to need to go to a shoe manufacturer. But like when I started, like there wasn't all of these manufacturers. It was very, very difficult to find one. But nowadays it's like, there's just so many out there that it's more just doing your research and finding one. And, some of my tips are like, make sure that they have great communication. So if you're going overseas, they speak English well, they're answering you promptly. There's nothing worse than a manufacturer that is not getting back to you, that's going MIA. So make sure that the communication is really great. And when you do find a good manufacturer, baby the shit out of that relationship. Like if things go wrong, don't attack them, work together. That's what I do with my manufacturer. Like we have both grown so much over the last 2 years together, because I'm asking them to do things they've never done before, and I've never done any of this before either. So of course there's going to be little hiccups, but instead of like just battling it out, like work together. After a big launch, like I send them flowers, like I thank them for everything that they do, and like they really value that. So I think like a healthy relationship with your manufacturer is really key.
I love it. I love all that. A lot of people are going to Alibaba. You're right. There's millions of them on there. You can actually watch YouTube videos on how to find a quality one too. Like there's gold standard and platinum blacks and all these things where they have like a good track record, and it's not as dangerous as what people would think to send your money, because Alibaba kind of protects you when you start. And there is a lot of good local manufacturers as well. And there's actually design companies that are coming out. Fit Design, I think it's Fit Design is a company out of Toronto, or they're originally two brothers that actually create tech packages and stuff for young people that are trying to start clothing lines as well. So it's different probably even since you started, like just in the last few years, right? Yeah.
I'm
So
sure
what's next? What's next? How big are you? I love people with big dreams. I love people that are going all in. What's next for Azure? How far do you want to take this? Do you have goals set? And are you comfortable where you're at? Are you going, how far am I going to see you go?
I'm going big.
You're going big?
I hope to. I don't know.
I love it.
2 to 3 million this year in sales. So hopefully we can do that. I'm not like projecting 10 years from now, because I have no idea what to expect. Like I'm actually, I'm super happy with the growth. Like last year we grew at a speed of, or an amount of 500%. If we can do that this year too, like that would be amazing. yeah, just keep doing what I'm doing. And I think like I have great products. I'm very confident in my branding. I just think I need to get it in front of more people. So I don't know if that's maybe putting more money into ads, investing in more inventory so I can fulfill those kinds of orders. But yeah, I'm hoping to grow as much this year as I did last year. But we'll see.
You're grabbing great traction. Your company is just a baby. I mean, you think about how like you get in where you're at right now is where you really start to compound and start to double and triple, right? It's like that first foundation. And I see people wearing the product, and half the people that are tagging us at Athletic Culture and Images are wearing your clothing as well, right? So it's really starting. Yeah, you're starting to get a lot of traction in that area, right? The last thing I really want to try to talk about is you chose to just support females, right? That was probably because you just were passionate about trying to find something that you felt good in, and you wanted to share that with other females. There's not a lot of brands that have just chose one gender and gone with it. I kind of feel like the clothing would have been comfortable on guys. The colors are great. I think I would have looked good in a hoodie. So are you ever going to expand out, or is it going to be female clothing out forever?
Our sweat sets are in fact unisex, so you could wear.
Oh, okay. All right.
But that's been our only like unisex drop so far. People always ask me if I'm going to do men's, but there's so much that I want to do in women's that I kind of have to just be careful, because I have to put my money where the money's going to come, kind of thing.
Yeah,
so
of
I would
course.
love to do men's, but I don't think I'm ready for that. I also have just even noticed like the bigger brands like Lululemon, they're mainly women. Like they're mainly selling a lot of the women's stuff. And I have quite a few friends that work at Lulu, and they're like, we try to push the men's stuff and like it doesn't work. And I've heard Ben Francis say of Gymshark say, we started with men's, but it was the woman that really took the company off the ground. And I think it's because they take selfies, they online shop more, they're more social. And I think that those things feed it a little bit more. So I think definitely in apparel, clothing in general, women bring in more money into that industry to begin with. And I'm a woman, so it's easier for me to just make what I know. But I would love to do this in the future. I would.
I think it gives you a uniqueness. I think it's something special, right? And I think that it allows you to go super deep into providing a quality product for someone. I mean, at the end of the day, you're probably making products you love. Like there's probably not anything you don't wear, right?
Oh, like you probably. I wear it every single day.
Yeah.
And it also comes back to like just pulling back on the reins. Sometimes like when you decide to launch a business, maybe you want to do 10 different products, but you have to pull back. And like I would love to do men's, and there's still a lot of stuff for women that I would love to do. But I'm like, whoa, slow down. The leggings are the best seller. They're making a lot of money. Let's focus on our like 3 best sellers and push those rather than coming out with like more products all the time. Because you're just giving people more options to shop from. It's kind of better to just like focus in on a few really key things, especially at the beginning when you're small, I think.
I 100% agree with it. And I think it's very unique what you're doing. And I'm excited to see you grow. And I thank you so much for you and your boyfriend supporting the Athletic Culture. I love seeing you guys come in. And where can people find you? And is there anything you want to leave them with before we close this up? Obviously, Instagram, Facebook, what handles, website, where would you like them to go to find you and Azure?
Sure. So it's Azure Fit, AZURFIT. That's our handle on everything. Instagram, TikTok, Pinterest. AzureFit.com is the website. And then my handle is Erin Dubs. So it's ERINNDUBS. And across all the platforms as well. You can find me on Clubhouse, TikTok, Instagram, Pinterest, everything.
Awesome. So I've got one thing that I've just implemented into the podcast. It's a bit cheesy, but I think it's kind of powerful. I've chosen 3 words, and I'm going to say one word at a time, and you're just going to say the first thing that comes to mind.
Okay.
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 Money.
Power.
Power. Health.
Happiness.
Dreams.
Big.
I love it. And that's it. That's the closing. Thank you so much for your time. I really feel like we got a lot of value out of this. I'm sure a lot of people are going to enjoy listening the whole way through. We talked about branding, marketing, everything from starting a brand up to what you're doing now. I think a lot of people are going to start to follow you. And I think you have a lot to offer, not just in your brand, but for especially young females and males coming up that want to do similar to what you're doing. So thank you for your time and thank you for your message.
Thank you so much for having me. And I can't wait to be back in the gym lifting heavy again.
Yeah, I'm hoping it's sooner than later. We keep
Same.
getting messages every day saying, I heard it's February 28th. I'm like, where did you hear that? They're like, oh, somebody said that it was. I'm like, you know what? We're hoping sooner than later. I think that it'll probably be May or June, but I encourage everybody to stay moving and exercising and doing the best you can. And I can't wait to see you in there too. So hopefully sooner.
Well, you have our support. So good luck to you in the meantime, and we'll see you out on the playground when we come back.
That's it. Thanks, Erin.
Thank you.